Remasters, hot topic right now, guys. Let's get into it and let's see what Atlus can do to improve upon theirs in the future. Sit back, relax, and let's get it on. Alright guys, what's going on? It's King Narakami here, and today I got a special guest with me, KatanaRikku. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, man. You're welcome here anytime. I always love interacting with you and talking with you. And today we're going to be talking about a very weird topic. At least I think it's kind of weird. We're kind of going to be talking about Grand Theft Auto and Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne in the same breath. Isn't that a weird combination to you, Rikku?
It's weird because they have nothing in common except for the remasters themselves.
Oh, definitely. And let's go ahead and get into the remasters right quick. And I feel like it's a good time to bring up the problem with modern remasters, because we've had a few subpar titles come out recently. You talk about Crysis Remastered. You talk about GTA, the Trilogy Definitive Edition, which was an absolute shit show. And, you know, Shin Megami Tensei's 30th anniversary is next year. So I think this is the best possible time to go ahead, dive in, and talk about what Atlus can do to further improve upon their titles. So I've seen a trend lately here in gaming, and this goes for regular games and like remasters, remakes, that games are kind of shipped incomplete nowadays. Do you feel the same way, Rikku?
Yeah, I absolutely do. I wish we can go back to the PS2 era where the game on a CD was the final product and you didn't have to worry about patches after the fact, because it's always a pain having to deal with it. I want to have a game that when I buy it physically, no matter where I am, if I don't have internet or whatever, I want that game to work 100% and have all the content on it.
1000%. Back in the PS2 era, GameCube era, what came on the disc is what you got. They may release a revised version later on, like a greatest hits version, and fix some things, but other than that, when you bought the game, that's what you got. And I think developers are kind of getting too lenient with what they do with the game before shipping it. I just think that it's become such a problem with games such as Cyberpunk. I think that's the biggest issue, shipping just without not even 50% complete done. Have you noticed that trend as well?
Yeah, games really should not be releasing in incomplete states. It really shouldn't. It hurts the overall, they can get it out early, developers can get the game out earlier, but it's not worth the reception. I prefer a game get delayed, just like that famous quote from Shigeru Miyamoto. I'd prefer games get delayed and just come out later and then just be complete instead of having them to deal with that whole issue. That's part of the reason why I never got Cyberpunk. Even at the $10 price point, I still have never touched it.
Well, here's the thing with Cyberpunk. It was too ambitious. It's a big project. It couldn't possibly live up to expectations. But what we're going to be talking about right quick is remasters of old games from 50 to 20 years ago that kind of come out incomplete, which is a shame because these are titles that already exist. So the biggest thing before we get into Nocturne, I want to talk about the worst of them all. Recently, Grand Theft Auto, the Trilogy, the Definitive Edition came out, and I'm going to play some clips for you here on screen, but there's so many issues. Character models are terrible, glitching through the map, frame rate issues all across the board, even on PS5 versions, and these are PS2 games. GTA 3 was from 2001. Are you aware of this, and what do you think about this whole situation here, Rikku, with GTA?
I think it's funny because with how popular GTA has gotten with GTA 5, I think they should have put more emphasis and made sure the game was in a really great state, because a lot of people are going to buy the game, and I think they know that. I think that's why they kind of don't care about it, but at the same time, it's this is a product that you're shipping out. It should not be in the state that it's in, especially this particularly bad when it's almost like a meme at this point with how bad the game has gotten with the glitches and things like that.
Oh, dude, it's definitely a meme. Have you seen CJ's face in the first-person view with that glitch, and he's just smiling while he's riding a bike and on the airplane and everything? It is.
I actually quote tweeted that on Twitter. I was like, dude, there's no way this is legit. And I was, for a minute when they announced that, I was like, I might actually get this. No way. There's no way I'm getting it this time. It's absolutely not happening.
And this isn't a problem with the Switch version per se, because most of Nocturne's problems were on the Switch version. A big part of it was, but it's like I said, it's all across the board, man. PS5 running 30 FPS has incomplete frame pacing and everything. It is just, go check out Digital Foundry's video. It's probably on the screen for you right now because I stole their footage, But it's just a lot of problems, and the problem with the GTA remaster is that it shipped incomplete. And I feel Nocturne almost suffered the exact same fate this past year as well. So you've heard, we both played Nocturne. We both reviewed it on our channels. Go check out Riku's review, by the way, and check out his review on SMT5 on Game Explain. It is amazing, by the way, little plug for you. But Nocturne kind of released it in incomplete state because, you know, you could say the Switch isn't that powerful and everything, but this is a PS2 game from 2003, like I said on my review. It's an 18-year-old game, and it is struggling on modern hardware, even a mobile chipset like the Nintendo Switch, and even suffers on PS4 with frame rate issues. The characters don't look great. It kind of looks like it's all computerized, AI upscaled, like GTA the Definitive Edition was. Did you have a lot of problems with SMT 3 Nocturne as well? And what do you think about this whole stance of it kind of shipped incomplete?
So I played Nocturne on the Switch, and I have it on PS4, but I haven't opened it because I just want to keep that one sealed for collectors, you know, all that stuff. So the Switch version does have a good bit of frame drops, which actually any amount of frame drops to me is surprising because it's a PS2 game. I'm gonna go ahead and just assume that that's because it was, from what I've heard, it was outsourced. It wasn't directly worked on by Atlas to be ported to Switch and PS4. But outside of that, like, the game just in general had like this sort of like blurry look on handheld mode and things like that. So it definitely could have been better for the Switch version. Can't speak on PS4 though.
Did you play the Matador boss fight on the Switch?
Yes, I did, and it was terrible. That was actually one of the highlights of my reviews of just how bad the frame rate can get. It was almost funny because like the music and sound effects would get so choppy. You just hear the music. I mean, you just hear like the background noises, and like it was like what, like 1 frame per second. I'm not even exaggerating like that.
Dude, it was definitely in the single digits. I'll put it on the screen if you haven't seen it by now. It's just insane. But another problem that people have with the Nocturne remaster as well is the audio quality, and people are having problems with that on GTA as well. You know, kind of lower quality kind of audio, and it's weird. You know, it's one thing because GTA recorded all their lines back in 2001, 2004 for all the characters. Nocturne was not voiced when it first came out on the PS2. It didn't have VAs or anything. They had to record those lines for this new release, which is great. I'm glad that they did that because that really saved a lot of the problems that I had with the remaster in the first place. But the music compression in Nocturne, do you remember what I'm talking about? When you're hearing Fierce Battle, it sounds like it's coming out of like a fucking can or something.
Yeah, it sounds terrible, and it's like Atlas knows how bad it was because they actually removed the audio from their Twitter account from like featured videos that highlighted the game. So that was always funny to me.
And people were memeing that as well. That was hilarious at the time.
Yeah, but like that's the disappointing thing to me is that the music in Nocturne is so good, and it's just the fact that you're like everything else sounds perfect. The sound effects sound good. It's just the music sounds terrible, compressed like that. It really like.
Well, here's the thing: we have high quality versions of those songs available. Atlas puts out. You could buy a disc, a CD right now from Amazon, perfect quality, perfect CD quality, and everything. Why didn't they just do that? That would have caused too much effort. And I think that's the problem with modern remasters. Do you feel that way as well?
I think I don't know. I'm not a company. I don't know how they work, but I feel like they're like putting less priority because it's not a newer game. They just they can kind of get it out there as like a title that just kind of fill out like maybe whatever part of the year it comes out in. Oh, SMT5 comes out 2021. We can just do Nocturne real quick and get it out at the beginning of 2021. And I just feel like they're not really respecting, like, in my opinion, they're not really respecting like the original, like, what is it, just the idea of the game. Because how's a game like run better on a PS2 than the current console? I feel like if it's for current consoles remastered, obviously it's still gonna have the PS2 like, you know, like look to it and things like that. But I feel like there's a lot more they could have done to make it feel way more modern.
I can definitely overlook a lot of graphics thing, but once a PS2 game starts running, you know, Nocturne was capped at 30 FPS no matter what you're on because that's how the game was made. If you ran it at 60, the game would run faster than it's intended to. I get that, but there's no reason why you should be having frame rate issues. And you mentioned something earlier about Nocturne being outsourced. GTA was also outsourced to Grove Street Games as well. So there's a problem. Developers don't want to take the time to do their own project and make sure that it's right.
GTA, it's more surprising to me simply because of how much money Rockstar has. I feel like they could have just like And I don't know how it works, but I feel like they could have someone who is more like competent at making, ports and things like that and remastering games. They could have had like they needed a quality standard in my opinion because they have all the money in the world. They have so much from GTA 5. There is so much more they could have done, but
they're one of the leaders in the gaming community, man. They have some of the most money. They're owned by Take-Two. That puts out the NBA 2K games, and they make that money off those microtransactions, man.
Yeah,
so,
and then every year people buy the game, so.
And so there is no excuse, I feel like, even if you do outsource this. So that brings us to our final couple of topics. What do you think Atlas can do to ensure that this does not happen again to one of the games, so we don't have another GTA situation on our hands or anything?
So in my opinion, well, I think they should have everything ready to go for all the regions, because with Nocturne, they actually have to patch things like, like, what is it, Fusion, Inheritance, they have to patch that in. That was actually like, we got it at launch in the West because they already had it out there, but for Japan, they had to wait for that. So they should like unify that, just have everything come out. Not it didn't have to come out at the same time, but like it should just like
it needs to be in a complete state.
All the versions have. Yeah, it should be complete from the very beginning. They should wait for that to be a thing.
I think another thing Atlas needs to do is to make sure that they shouldn't outsource these projects. Yes, P4G was outsourced to someone else. It even had its fair share of problems at first. It was just a port, it wasn't a remaster. But at the same time, when you outsource these projects, I feel like there isn't enough quality control. I feel like that's one of the problems with modern remasters / definitive editions right there. That's one of your problems. It's a rushed project, and you just get it out there to make money or build hype for something. And, companies do that. I get it. It's all about the dollar. But at the same time, don't piss off the people that love your game so much is what I'm saying. You're seeing that kind of with GTA right now.
Yeah, I think if a remaster makes me want to play the original version, it's not a good remaster, in my opinion.
No. People are clamoring for the original 3 versions of the trilogy to come back onto the stores. It's really sad.
I found that really weird too. They just pulled it from the store completely. Luckily, I already have it on one of my accounts on PlayStation Network, so I can still play the original or the remastered, or not the remastered, the ported version. So that's good. But yeah, that sucks for people who didn't get it yet. It's just really weird.
So for the last topic that I want to talk about, if Atlas does continue this trend of remasters and everything, what would you like to see them do next? And hopefully they don't mess it up. What would you like to see Atlas remaster for their next big game?
Okay, so I think the obvious one, is considering it's Persona's 25th anniversary, would be like Persona 3. And if they do that, I would really hope that they do more than just like port it over with just Persona 3 FES. I don't think they're going to do it, but I would love to have the party controlling ability from the portable version. I don't even want a lot. That's all I just want. That and the bigger version of Persona 3, basically.
Oh, definitely. Now, what would you like to see? Which SMT game also would you like to see? Because I know next year's an anniversary year for SMT. What would you like to see remastered?
Personally, I think Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2 are like the biggest. Like, they just make the most sense to me. I think something like, I say that because the Raito games, I think those should just get like a remake or something, to just be rebuilt in an entirely different engine or something. I don't know, because the combat looks a little dated, but then turn-based combat doesn't really age that badly, in my opinion. I know some people have different opinions, but I think that's just the next step. They already have Nocturne out. I think it's like the same engine. The music is great in Digital Devil Saga, so I think it's just the next obvious step.
I think we both agree on that. Digital Devil Saga, Persona 3. I think that should be next for Atlas. Rikku, thank you so much for joining the video today. Weird comparison between GTA and Nocturne, but I think it was relevant for all the discussion right now online. So thank you so much for joining me today, man.
And thanks for having me. Thank you so much.
Anytime, man. And we'll see you guys on the next video. King out.